Hello, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan, out of the office, out of the studio, and into the living room to talk about the inside scoop, the inside story of how Graham Potter saved his Chelsea job and what happened behind the scenes. Ooh, compelling article written on the Telegraph by, I was about to say Graham Potter. That would be raising eyebrows for self-PR. By Matt Law. I'm interested to learn this insight and go through it with you guys. If you are interested in the article itself, I will of course link it down in the description. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate all of you attending this video. It's like, Jesus, like a meeting. Feel free to subscribe. Drop a like on the video if you want to support the content. It means a lot to me, friend. Alright then, I'm very interested to learn, so let's hop in. Matt Law writes, Graham Potter inspired the two victories that, he says, saved his Chelsea job with a series of heart-to-heart talks with his players, staff, and the club's owners. Now, of course, despite us hearing throughout this turbulent time that Graham Potter's job is safe, we also heard that it was safe-ish. Had we lost to both Leeds and Dortmund, that resolve would be seriously tested. And we've also heard rumours that perhaps the ownership's a little bit more split. Perhaps Todd Boehly is more in the Graham Potter camp, and Ed Barley was a little bit more concerned. Let's find out. Head coach Potter came through his make-or-break games against Leeds United and Borussia Dortmund with back-to-back wins that delighted co-owners Bedadig Barley and Todd Boehly, who celebrated with a beer in the Chelsea dressing room on Tuesday night. I did like that. I saw Todd Boehly, I think I said in my post-match presser, Todd Boehly on the pitch with a beer, walking around, big smile on his face. Why not? Enjoy it. Great stuff. Great stuff. With Chelsea booking a Champions League quarter final date and signs of confidence in the squad growing ahead of Saturday's Premier League trip to Leicester City, Potter can again look at the remainder of the season with optimism. And it's really important to know, throughout this difficult period, the players are upset to be losing. You can see that. They never seemingly turned on the gaffer. They all, I know it sounds like PR, they all come out saying, yeah, we're together, excuse me, we back the manager, all this kind of stuff. But to be honest, like, you can often tell and sense the camaraderie behind the scenes, and considering we've got an army of new players all coming from different leagues and countries, they don't even all speak the same language, that is a potential concoction for just disaster and disharmony. But despite that very difficult task, they seem to be all together. Mia's here to say hello and read the article. And okay. Boehly and Igbali will have also noted, this is interesting, the noise in and around Stamford Bridge for the Dortmund second leg, which long-standing staff, so the Stamford Bridge staff, and fans rate as the best atmosphere experienced for a Chelsea home game since pre-COVID. Which is a long time ago. I haven't been to the bridge in ages. It's not always rocking, to be fair, but I've been there for big, like, European nights and stuff. It did look absolutely wild, to be honest, and that's important when you're going through a difficult time with a club, when there's uncertainty about, players not scoring, new signings not being potentially integrated well, and of course, massive question marks over the manager. For that to be such a positive atmosphere, and such a notably positive atmosphere comparatively to the last few years, that's of course going to be a big positive for the club moving forward with this regime, with potentially this management team moving forward. The pressure on Potter and the players to maintain the upturn in results, particularly in the two remaining games against Leicester and Everton before the international break. So there is pressure to continue there, is what he's saying. But Chelsea's head coach has impressed everybody at the club with the way he has coped with such a pivotal spell. It's tough, isn't it? Because he did look, I don't want to say he looked like, this dude, I like Potter. I'd like for someone like a good guy, a good, honest man to succeed at Chelsea and not as, a combustive character. But I was looking at him in those last few press conferences thinking, there's just no way out. There's no way, not just you, but there's no way a manager can be in that position and succeed. It kind of just felt like a point of no return. I was open to it being, resolved. I never said Potter out, as you will take note, but I never say any manager out. And I'm not going to say he's done it, but to get those 2 wins and to get that performance out of those players in Stamford Bridge, I mean, fair play, man. Like, he deserves his kudos, because I was just thinking, no, it's not going to happen. But, they clearly have a plan. They're all together and the players performed well. The Telegraph Sport understands that Potter has held a number of personal talks with players, staff and members of the Chelsea board, including Bowley and Eghbali, over the past week to reassure individuals of his plans and listens to any concerns or suggestions they have. The floor is open, ladies and gentlemen. Very positive. Sticking to his guns as well, not just you could say reverting to the back three is sort of reverting to type, but I guess sticking to your guns in terms of ideals and long-term planning. But it's good to sit down and listen to people and say, what do you think? So many managers have failed historically because it's their way or the highway. Jose Mourinho's biggest flaw in his downturn of managerial form towards the most recent and latter stages of his career is he just didn't sit down and listen to players, and in the modern landscape of football, you need a bit of that, do you know what I mean? Rather than simply dishing out his own orders and opinions, Potter referenced the fact that he had taken on board the views of others by saying, quote, "We've had a good training week, good feedback, honest conversations, and I feel the support from the players, I feel the support from the people in the building. We want to improve, and that's exciting." Well, we all want Chelsea to improve, mate. That's just, that's just where we're at. So big calls over captaincy and selection. Potter has also impressed by making a couple of big calls by dropping Hakim Ziyech. Was it that big? Considering who was lucky not to be sent off against Tottenham Hotspur. Also, it was a big call to put him straight back in after he nearly left for PSG. Maybe just, that was a gamble to say, all right, show me you're still good, or whatever. Yeah, but, I would have dropped, I think most of you watching and listening would have dropped Hakim Ziyech pretty darn quickly. And leaving out £88 million signing Mykhailo Mudryk, watching from the sidelines in the past 2 games as the winger acclimatises to life in England. So of course this is interesting. People are frustrated that they have not seen Mudryk a bit more. But, we don't see what happens behind the scene. There could well be good reason why he's not been utilised and, as Matt Law writes here, acclimatises to English life. Also, as well, with the wing-backs, that's been working for us the last 2 games. They very much occupy the wide flanks, and it doesn't surprise me too much not to see the likes of Ziyech, Noni Madueke, Mykhailo Mudryk, because they're all wingers. And when you play a wing-back system, generally you don't play with wingers, you play with people who play a little bit tighter. Of course, Raheem Sterling, you might say, is a winger, but he's played as for false 9. When he plays for England, he plays very close to Harry Kane. So, him, João Felix, and Kai Havertz will play more narrow, and the wing-backs would provide the width and often occupy those spaces that the wingers will want to be in. Eghbali and Bowley saw firsthand how Potter coped with the pressure of the past 2 games, speaking with him about his plans and the support they could offer during their latest visit to England, in which they watched the Leeds and Dortmund games together. I didn't see Eghbali, but I guess he was there. Potter had faced a huge challenge trying to manage such a big squad since the January transfer window, and the Telegraph Sport revealed after the defeat by Tottenham that doubt had set in among the players over his ability to turn around the situation, the situation and the decision to leave some players out of his matchday squad. Excuse me, blocked nose. I was kind of feeling the same, I don't know, it did seem lost at points, didn't it? But maybe we are found, ladies and gentlemen. But a number of players are understood to have been reassured by Potter's heart-to-heart talks and impressed with his handling of the squad over the past 2 games, in which he gave the Mateo Kovacic the captaincy in absence of Thiago Silva. Kovacic is facing a big decision over his Chelsea future, with the contract due to enter its final year, which has prompted interest from Man City. But despite that uncertainty, Potter has made faith in the Croatian clear by giving him the captain's armband in a crucial time. And it works! He's played really well, the captain's armband is sitting on him nicely, and it's really worth mentioning, that's not written in the article, but I heard Liam Twomey speak on this on the Athletic podcast. Every time Kovacic comes off, or the last 2 games, he's passed the armband to Titanic performing, if that makes sense, Kepa Arrizabalaga. And it really, really deserves a moment of praise, Kepa, because, again, citing Liam Toomey off this podcast, his story is just excellent. You know, this guy had like a breakup. He had the absolute meme season where he was the bottom in Europe or something, the worst keeper ever. Everything was going, it was awful. And his resilience, to the point where Chelsea bought a replacement. We bought a replacement for him because he was playing so profoundly bad. We bought his replacement, who played and won the Champions League. But despite that, Kepa just rebuilt in the background. He was rebuilt he rebuilt himself, his mental resilience, and just became excellent. And the stats dictate that this season, despite even having a little wobble recently, he's having the best shot-stopping season of his entire career. And of course, remember when he was at Athletic Bilbao, Real Madrid wanted him and stuff because he was like, just an incredible story. And he does deserve, the fact how he's making these big saves and he's looking like just mentally strong, then be the vice captain on the pitch as well. I have no issue with either of those guys wearing the armband, especially right now. Kai Havertz has been entrusted with Chelsea's penalty-taking duties. Of course, we did a video on this. Potter came out and said it would have been either him or Reece James, but I still need to be a bit more convinced. Like, look, Kai Havertz, the cojones on him to retake it, put it in the same place and convert. He's a man for the big occasion, but is he the man to continue taking penalties? I rather think we'll find out quite quickly. Potter explained why he left out Marc Cucurella of the squad entirely after the left-back was booed in the Dortmund game. Of course, he brought him back and he was man of the match. He said this: obviously when you're having a bad time, like we've had, you accept the criticism, you have to deal with it. Marc has dealt with it. We've tried to shield him a little bit, at the same time pick up the moment. I guess he's talking about this. I thought, regardless of his situation, the crowd were going to get behind us because it's, Champions League. And thankfully, it was top performance. It's all about confidence with that. Bringing good times back to the bridge, ladies and gentlemen. The atmosphere inside Stamford Bridge of the Dortmund game provided encouragement that a bond can be developed between Potter's squad and the fans, with Enzo Fernandez being approached by a young supporter who ran on the pitch in the final whistle. It's a sweet picture. I saw that. It touched my heart when the boy ran on to come and see me. He came and asked for my shirt. It was such a special moment because he wanted to see me and he gave me a quick hug. It made me feel even more connected with the fans. I love to get to know the fans. Look, they have the trust they have me in incredible. I feel at home. Whether you look at home, Enzo, you're playing like a baller. João Felix looks at home. You look at home. Could this be, well, it is your home, Enzo, but could it be Felix's home as well? Could everyone live here? All the good players, not the bad ones. They can be sold and this will no longer be their home, but the good ones stay and it will be a lovely home for them. Look. This is not for certain that Potter will succeed. This is not absolutely done. He's he's a success, but it is a positive story. And again, to cite, I don't want to, I always want to make sure I explain where I heard something on that same Athletic podcast. Simon Johnson of The Athletic explained how there's probably a picture, I'm yet to see it. There was an embrace in the tunnel after the game between Todd Boehly and Graham Potter. Of course, like I said, it's assumed that Todd Boehly's the biggest supporter in the ownership group of Graham Potter. Not now to say Barley's adverse to him, but it was a moment of saying, look, I've trusted you. We were absolutely in the trenches and we're not out of it yet, but this could be a really positive moment. And it's a great piece of insight from Matt Law. I left a few bits out of the article. It is behind the paywall. I do recommend you go read it. It's in the description. And if you enjoy my reaction and delivery and aggregation of this content, these news, please do drop a like, and you're welcome to subscribe. Should you choose to do so, you should hit the sweet bell, baby. Alright, mate, I'm gonna tap out. See you in a bit. Peace.